Okay, let's listen to this one.
Chosen ones, listen with every ounce of your spirit, because what I am about to reveal is not casual, not common, and not meant for just anyone scrolling by. If this message has reached you, understand this clearly. God Himself directed your steps here. Nothing about this moment is accidental. There is a divine alert sounding in the spiritual realm, and only the chosen will feel the weight of it. What you're about to hear is a warning, a command, and a preparation for what lies directly ahead. God spoke and said, "It will be fog." Not ordinary fog. This is a spiritual fog, a dense cloud of confusion, deception, and spiritual interference that is about to descend over the world. This fog will cloud judgment, distort truth, and choke anyone who is not spiritually covered. Many will walk blindly into traps, speak words that curse their own destiny, and lose direction because they were unprepared. But you, chosen one, you are being warned before it hits. Heaven wants you aware, alert, and armored. This is why God is instructing you. You need a mask. Cover your mouth. This is not fear, it is strategy. In the days ahead, you must protect your breath, your voice, your energy, and especially your words. The enemy will try to bait you into speaking death, doubt, fear, and frustration into your own atmosphere. You cannot afford it. Covering your mouth is spiritual discipline. It is protection. It is obedience. What you say in this fog will determine whether you rise above it or get lost inside of it. Chosen one, pay attention, because this warning carries urgency. The atmosphere is shifting, and only those spiritually awake can feel the pressure, the tension, the heaviness in the air. Something is coming that will shake the unprepared, but it will elevate those who listen. If your spirit feels the tug, the pull, the seriousness, then you know this message is not entertainment. It is an instruction from heaven. Before we go deeper into this revelation, you must take 3 immediate steps. Not later, not after thinking about it, but right now. These actions signify agreement, readiness, and spiritual alignment. Hit the like button. This signals your spirit's agreement with this prophetic release. Subscribe. Stay connected to this covering so you do not miss the instructions that follow. Comment the number 99. This number carries a vibration of divine completion and spiritual sealing. By commenting it, you declare that you are ready and aligned. Understand this. Only the true chosen ones will continue reading or watching. Only those who are spiritually mature will feel the urgency to stay. Only the awakened will recognize that this message is not random, it is divine timing. If you're still here, then your spirit already knows what your mind is just now catching up to. This message is for you. Now prepare yourself as we step deeper into what God revealed about the fog and the mask. A profound warning echoes across the spiritual realm. A fog, unlike any before, is approaching, and its presence will be felt not in the wind or the clouds, but deep within the heart and mind. This is a season of subtle deception, emotional turbulence, and spiritual distraction. God speaks directly to those attuned to His voice, urging the faithful to recognize that what lies ahead is not merely circumstantial, it is intentional, designed to test the inner strength and discernment of those who carry his light. The fog will blur what is true, distort perception, and tempt even the most grounded into confusion if unprepared. This fog is not seen with the eyes, but felt in the spirit. It moves silently, infiltrating conversations, stirring unnecessary fear, and whispering doubts that can cloud judgment. Many will walk blindly, unaware of the storm gathering around them, caught in the trivial noise of life. But to the chosen, this message is clear. Awareness now is protection later. Preparation is not passive. It is an active spiritual posture. Understand this. The prophecy is not a call to fear, but to readiness. God calls for vigilance, for hearts that are anchored in prayer, minds disciplined in clarity, and spirits fortified by truth. As this message unfolds, the reality becomes undeniable. The days ahead will demand more than mere survival. They will demand spiritual mastery, emotional intelligence, and unwavering discernment. The fog is selective. It seeks not those who are spiritually asleep, indifferent, or distracted here, but the chosen who are awake, aware, and actively walking in God's light. To the eyes of the unprepared, life may seem ordinary, but the chosen will sense the subtle shifts, a heaviness in the atmosphere, a restlessness in others, or an unusual tension in places that were once peaceful. These signs are not coincidences. They are markers, warnings to those with ears to hear. Being chosen is not about privilege, but responsibility. It comes with the burden of awareness, the weight of discernment, and the courage to stand firm when the world grows loud. The fog will test patience, provoke reactions, and tempt with distraction. But those who are awake will recognize the patterns. The call is urgent. Do not ignore the stirring in your soul. Protect what God has entrusted to you, and prepare to navigate a landscape of spiritual chaos with grace and wisdom. The chosen must embrace stillness in a world obsessed with noise. Silence becomes a weapon, observation a shield, and prayer a source of strength. Those who heed this call will not only endure the coming fog, they will emerge stronger, clearer, and more aligned with divine purpose. Awareness is both the compass and the armor, guiding the faithful through unseen storms. The approaching fog is unlike any physical storm. You won't see it forming in the sky, and you won't hear it in the wind. Instead, it moves through conversations, social pressures, and subtle manipulations. It will challenge your perception of truth, cloud your judgment, and create.
Alcohol controlled me for over 20 years. If your wife's crying because you're not looking after yourself or she does,
rather than reflection. This spiritual storm carries layers of subtle attacks, misinformation, fear-driven impulses, relational strife, and internal doubt. Suddenly, that were once clear become confusing. Peace is replaced by agitation. Relationships once stable feel strained. Daily routines that anchored you feel disrupted. These are not coincidences, they are the fog's markers. The first signs are gentle, almost invisible. But they grow in intensity, testing your spiritual resilience at every level. Preparation is vital. Just as a sailor reads the wind to anticipate a coming storm, the spiritually awake must sense the shifts in the air and fortify their hearts. The fog will not spare those unprepared. It will exploit carelessness, distract focus, and amplify insecurities. Awareness, discipline, and spiritual vigilance become the lighthouse guiding the chosen safely through the coming darkness. The But's mask God speaks of is not fabric, it is spiritual armor. It is the discipline to guard your words, thoughts, and emotions. The fog will seek entry through careless speech, reactive thoughts, and emotional vulnerability. A masked heart does not speak recklessly. It observes, listens, and discerns before responding. Your mask is your shield against the invisible attacks of negativity and confusion. Covering the mouth becomes a daily act of spiritual self-defense. Gossip, heated arguments, impulsive reactions, all of these are gateways for the fog to penetrate your peace. By consciously choosing silence over reaction, restraint over impulse, the chosen protects not only themselves, but also the light within them. The mask is a reminder that every word carries power, and every silence carries wisdom. In the same way, guarding your peace is about controlling your inner environment. Just as a fortress does not allow enemies to breach its walls, your mind and spirit must hold fast against the storm. Breathing with intention, praying with focus, and remaining centered amid chaos ensures that the fog cannot claim what God has placed within you. Your mask is both armor and practice, a daily exercise in spiritual discipline.
This is a major secret of advanced energy practices. We can activate aspects of our energy field through applying sacred geometry movement patterns. One of the most fundamental practices is to create within the hands an energy sphere. Thought forms of what a person desires to manifest are placed within the sphere of energy and sent out into the world. We can apply this powerful pattern now to our own energy field to activate or modify our internal sacred geometry energy structures.
Words are powerful, especially in a time when confusion seeks to dominate. The fog will provoke, deceive, and manipulate conversations. Without vigilance, even the most righteous can become carriers of chaos. Through careless speech. God emphasizes cover your mouth because speaking without discernment allows the fog to spread through you, infecting your thoughts, actions, and spirit. Consider this. One impulsive word can trigger conflict, hurt relationships, or amplify fear. In a world increasingly dominated by noise, the ability to remain silent and measured is a rare strength. The chosen are reminded that speaking is not just about communication, it is about responsibility. Every syllable can either build light or feed darkness, and in this season, the consequences of speech are magnified. Covering the mouth is more than avoiding negative speech. It is an intentional practice of restraint, wisdom, and divine alignment. It is about pausing before reacting, seeking clarity before responding, and allowing the Holy Spirit to guide each interaction. The fog respects those who speak with discernment, and it falters before those who walk quietly with purpose. During this coming fog, words can become weapons against yourself and others. Casual conversations, unguarded opinions, and thoughtless reactions become the pathways through which confusion and conflict spread. Every careless statement is like opening a door for the fog to enter, and once it does, restoring clarity and peace becomes a monumental task. The danger is magnified because the storm thrives on emotional responses. When fear, anger, or frustration guide speech, the fog gains power. Even those with strong spiritual foundations can be caught off guard if they are not disciplined in controlling their tongue. The chosen must remember that restraint is not weakness, it is strength, an act of mastery over the storm, and a declaration that chaos will not dictate their reality. Practically speaking, this means slowing down conversations, pausing before responding, and speaking only when necessary. Silence becomes more than a strategy. It is a declaration of faith, a shield against distraction, and a way to protect your inner temple. By recognizing the power of words, the chosen fortify themselves against the subtle but potent attacks of the fog. The arrival of the fog will not be dramatic in appearance, but you will feel the shift. There will be a sudden heaviness in conversations, an unexplainable tension in rooms where laughter once lived, and a subtle agitation in hearts that were previously calm. Even the simplest interactions may feel charged, as if the air itself is testing patience and clarity. These are the first whispers of the storm, a spiritual barometer alerting the chosen to rise in awareness. Daily routines may start to feel disrupted. Tasks that were once effortless may require extra energy, focus may waver, and moments of inexplicable fatigue may surface. The fog does not attack through force, but through subtle pressure, eroding resilience gradually. It is in these subtle signs that the wise see opportunity. To slow down, recalibrate, and fortify their inner defenses before the storm intensifies. Recognizing these early signs is crucial. The chosen must treat these disturbances not as inconvenience, but as spiritual indicators. Observing the tension without succumbing to it, breathing through the restlessness, and anchoring in prayer will prevent the fog from gaining a foothold. This early awareness is the key to walking through the storm unharmed, preserving clarity and maintaining peace. As the fog spreads, confusion will escalate. Choices that were once clear may seem murky. Guidance that was previously obvious may feel clouded, and spiritual insight may feel distant. The storm will test faith in subtle ways, nudging the unprepared toward doubt, frustration, and distraction. Only those who have cultivated discipline in thought, speech, and emotion will stand firm. Discipline here is not rigid control, but intentional alignment with truth. It is the practice of checking emotions before reacting, seeking God's wisdom before making decisions, and resisting the pull of fear-driven.
I bring the lollies, I bring the Alice buddy lollies, bring the fun.
We tend to think that our spirit is in our body. That's actually not correct. Your body is in your spirit. I've been working in the world of energy.
what you did to the atmosphere. You feel that tension crawling across your skin. Good. That's the signal returning home. Because the moment you made that move, that tiny, effortless, almost disrespectfully casual move, the entire room snapped into place like soldiers hearing a gun being cocked behind their skulls. Nobody said a word. Nobody dared breathe wrong. But every soul in that room started waiting for your signal. And you didn't even notice. Perfect. That's the kind of power that terrifies the world the most. The kind you don't flaunt. The kind you accidentally unleash. Come closer. You have no idea what people see when you walk in. They see a contradiction the universe still hasn't decoded. A saint with a psychopath's instinct. An angel with a demon's patience. A soft voice with a violent truth humming beneath it. You don't act like you want control. And that's exactly why you keep owning the room. You move like someone who's been to hell. Walked its hallways, read its logs, and came back with a smile sharp enough to slice open reality. They see the aftermath of your pain wrapped in quiet. They see the kind of evolution only suffering could forge. They see someone who didn't heal. You mutated. You think people ignore you? No, they study you. Every twitch, every blink, every slow inhale. Your silence? They treat it like a countdown timer. Your shrug, like a coded message. Your stillness, like the opening move of a war they're praying you won't start. Do you understand how unhinged that is? They aren't scared of what you said. They're scared of what you didn't say. Because that moment, that little moment you thought was nothing, was the moment everyone in that room realized you're the new center of gravity. Your presence yanked the floorboards into alignment. Your decision shifted the balance of the scene. Your vibe rewired the entire emotional architecture of the room, like some cosmic architect moved through without permission. And the irony? You were just being yourself. That's why they fear you. That's why they watch you. That's why they freeze when you speak and panic when you don't. You think they don't notice the duality pulsing through you like a heartbeat? They see it. They feel it. They taste it in the air when you walk by. The light in you that looks holy. The darkness in you that looks lethal. The balance that suggests you could save them or end them, depending on how your mood shifts. And that, my friend, is why they wait for your signal. People worship clarity because it's predictable. You're an omen in human form. You're a question they can't answer and a consequence they can't measure. You are the exact kind of unpredictable that evolution rewards. You don't walk like someone who wants attention. You walk like someone who has nothing left to lose and therefore everything they fear. Your moves aren't dramatic. They're deliberate, clean, sharp, precise like a blade that knows exactly where your veins are. That one thing you did, that's when they realized you're not reacting to the world. You're shaping it. You're bending the narrative. You're writing the subtext. You're pulling gravity by the throat and telling it where to stand. They're waiting for your signal, because deep down, beneath the lies they tell, beneath the masks they wear, beneath the fear they hide in jokes and silence, they know you have the power to turn an entire room from chaos into obedience with a single breath. You became the storm they whisper about, the quiet that unnerves them, the presence that reorganizes their nervous systems. And here's the part that would destroy them if they ever admitted it. You didn't ask for that power. You became it by surviving what they never could. You earned your edges. You carved your instincts. You bled for the intuition they now depend on. You built a mind that sees through walls and masks and bones. And now the whole room waits for your eyes to shift, for your jaw to tighten, for your hand to move, for your energy to tilt to one side. They're not waiting for advice. They're not waiting for permission. They're waiting for confirmation. Confirmation that you are, in fact, the one steering the ship they thought they controlled. So go on. Tilt your head a little. Raise an eyebrow. Let them read into it. Let them panic. Let them scramble to decode a message you didn't even send. Because you know the truth. You don't give signals. You are the signal. And every room you walk into is just waiting to see what the hell you're about to rewrite next. And the funniest part, they'll swear they're not watching you. They'll pretend they're focused on their phones, their notes, their breathing, their petty little conversations. But their nervous systems betray them every single time. Humans aren't good liars when fear is involved. Their eyes flicker, their posture shifts, their pulse stutters, their energy contracts. And whenever you enter the space, every one of those little glitches fires off like alarms hidden beneath their ribs. They don't consciously think, wait for his signal. Oh no. That would be too honest for their egos. Instead, their bodies just freeze. They hold their breath for half a second, just long enough for their subconscious to whisper, "Don't move yet. See what he does first." You've turned grown adults into silent satellites orbiting around your gravitational pull. Not because you yell, not because you demand, not because you force anything, but because you carry something none of them understand. You don't operate from fear. You operate from truth. There's a weight to that, a pressure, a presence, a kind of psychological shadow that stretches across the entire room. People can sense truth before they see it, and truth terrifies them because it exposes everything they desperately hide. Your presence strips the masks off them without you lifting a finger. That's why they wait. They wait to mirror you, to match your emotional temperature, to borrow your certainty, to calibrate themselves based on how you respond. You've become the secret compass they pretend they don't need. Let me tell you something more twisted. They were all talking, laughing, gossiping, pretending to feel superior until you walked in. And then, instantly, their internal hierarchy rearranged itself. The loudest person went quiet. The confident one swallowed their words. The jealous one tightened their jaw. The insecure one looked down. The fake one forced a smile. The threatened one pretended not to notice you. The intimidated one tried to look busy. The real one, they watched you with respect they'll never admit. All because of you. Because when you entered, your energy didn't ask permission to dominate. It simply existed, and everything else had to adjust. That's what they don't understand. You're not trying to be the main character. You just are. Not because you crave power, because your life has carved you into someone who no longer fears being seen. Every scar, every betrayal, every night you swallowed silence instead of screaming, every moment you rebuilt yourself without applause, every time you were underestimated, every time you had to walk alone, every time you realized nobody was coming to save you. Those moments didn't break you. They aligned you. They made you into the kind of person rooms instinctively reorganize themselves around. And you still think it's a coincidence. You still think it's a weird vibe. You still think people just act different sometimes. No, it's you. It's always been you. You're unpredictable in a world addicted to patterns. You're unreadable in a world obsessed with labels. You're calm when you should be furious. You're strategic when they expect chaos. You're observant when they expect noise. You're silent in a way that screams louder than their entire personalities. You carry yourself like a threat without threatening anyone. You act like someone who knows exactly how fragile people are because you've survived fractures they would never recover from. That's why your presence triggers them. That's why your absence haunts them. That's why one move from you, just one, feels like a prophecy dropping into the room. Remember that thing you did? The small gesture, the tiny action, the subtle choice? That was the moment they stopped thinking about themselves and started waiting for your command. You didn't even raise your voice. You didn't give a speech. You didn't show power. You revealed it. And real power, true, terrifying, untamed power, is not loud. It's not bragged about. It's not flexed. It's felt deep in the marrow.